Hello, friends, and welcome to Pathologic Volume 5, Episode 34. Volume 5 comes to a close today with one final bonus puzzle, and it is our old friend LITS, and we will give a refresher to people who need it by taking a look at the rules. LITS is a puzzle that is named after the four shapes that we will be drawing in the grid. The rules are: shade one tetromino of cells in each region so that all shaded cells form one orthogonally connected area. So let's do a couple definitions here. A tetromino is just a connected set of four cells. So for example, this is an S shape, this is an L shape, this is a T shape, and so on. Orthogonally connected area is just a way of saying in this kind of grid that you can get from any shaded cell to any other shaded cell by only traveling through shaded cells in the grid. Two tetrominoes of the same shape may not share a bold border, counting rotations and reflections as the same. So this S here could not connect to another S anywhere in the grid or across one of these borders. We're going to have exactly one tetromino in each bold bordered area, and this L could not be touching another L, even reflected. No 2x2 region may be entirely shaded. That is just saying that given any four cells in the grid that make a little square, at least one of them must be unshaded. Sometimes we use region to mean a set of cells that are bordered by a bold border like this. In this instance, region is just saying any 2x2, even if there's a bold border inside them. Those are the rules of LITS, so it's time to solve a puzzle. Today's LITS was set by Eric Fox. We have some small regions, which is usually the place to start in these puzzles. This 5 cell is going to be one of the easiest to see here. We need to shade in 4 of the 5, and they've all got to be connected. And the only way we can do that is to include these 3 amongst the shaded cells. And as soon as we do that, we get another cell because we can't have a 2x2 of shaded cells. So that is not shaded. We got another 5er up here, but this is a shape that's a little less useful. We can say for sure that that will be shaded, but whether this is an L or an S or a T is unknown at the moment. Oh, I guess we can also say that this one's shaded, because again, we couldn't have an O. O would be a 2x2, so there are no O's in a LITS. That would make it a LITSO, which is a different thing entirely. Okay, so next up. This is a bit longer, but we still get a couple commonalities. No matter how we fit 4 cells in here, these 2 will be involved. And is anything else small enough to do that with? Well, this one is barely. This one is a 7, so there is 1 cell that will be shaded no matter what. We can, however, for these 2 regions, narrow it down a little bit further, because if this were shaded, these would all have to be shaded and we get a 2x2. So this is not shaded. Same thing in here. This can't be shaded because then we'd have a 2x2 at the bottom. And so that narrows this one down to only 6 cells, and this one's going to have to be shaded. This can't be for the same reason as we just said. If this were shaded, we'd have a 2x2 here, so that's out. Good. This can't be shaded because then we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'd have a 2x2 here, so that applies to this one as well for the same reason. This region needs to connect to the rest of the grid, and it can only do that through this region. So that tells me that one of these 3 cells at minimum must be shaded because those are the only ones that connect to this region. So that's going to eliminate a bunch of stuff down here, because the closest these three can get to this region is right here. And if this were shaded, we could go at most 1, 2, 3, 4 cells. We could not reach any of these. And in fact, this one is out as well, because that would force a 2 by 2 here. So that's out. So we've bounded this quite a ways. Let's see if that helps us toward the bottom of the grid at all. If this were an L here, that might be okay, because this region could connect that out to the rest of the world. So maybe we don't have enough there to go on yet. Okay. Let's see what we can know about. Probably have to start thinking about adjacent regions not being able to be the same shape. That's usually the next order, more difficult kind of deduction. Let's say this were this L shape here. If it were, this can't be shaded because we'd get a 2 by 2. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 shaded here, and then we'd have 2 L shapes touching. So that's not okay, which means that this is not that L, so this is not shaded. And we get these 4 shaded. That now rules out this cell because we'd get a 2 by 2 here, which means this goes at least 1 further. And this region can only connect to the rest of the world through this cell now. So that forces this to be shaded, forces this to be unshaded because the 2 by 2 shades that one, and we are off. This can't be shaded because we get a 2 by 2 here. This can't be shaded because we'd have to go around the corner and give ourselves a 2 by 2 there. So we're left with 5 cells, of which 4 must be shaded. The middle 3 must be included in that set, which unshades this one because of the 2 by 2. This gets unshaded because it's not connected to 4 cells. And now we have 5 left, of which 4 must be shaded, so these 3 must be among them. That's going to do a lot of work on this region, because if we start here, we get a 2 by 2 in the corner. If we start here, we get a 2 by 2 in the corner. If we start here or here or here, any of those gives us 2 by 2s on this side. So we're only left with 4 cells, and we got to shade them in. And then for a couple of reasons, we know what this one does. First, because if it went up here, we'd get a 2 by 2, and second, we would have the same shape next to each other. So either way, that's not shaded, which means that one is, and from the 2 by 2, this one is not, which then tells us in this region that one is. Okay, great. We are making great progress now. This region has a couple different ways it can escape out to the rest of the world, which is a bit annoying, because we don't know for sure that there is a connection over here, as long as this one's a possibility. What about something to do with the interactions of these 3 regions? I think probably it's going to be a problem for this to come up 1 further. If it did, take that back. That might be okay. If it doesn't, then okay. We need, what do we need to connect this to the rest of the grid, but that could go through any of these 3, and there's going to be some restriction about what this can be, because of the adjacent shapes, probably, though I'm not confident enough about that to make an assertion. This one I can rule out, because if we shaded this, then we'd get this shape, which is the same as that shape. So this one's out. That's good because these four will make a 2 by 2 there. Anything that includes these two will make a 2 by 2 there. So that would be this one and that one and that one. None of those are valid starting spots because they would all make 2 by 2s. That's gotten us down to 6 cells in this region, of which we need to fill 4 of them. And those 4 can't contain these 3. I guess that's not quite enough to go on. Oh, but it's done a great thing in separating these cells from here. I don't know exactly when that happened. It's been that way for a while. I'm just going to rewind a little bit. It's been that way since we did that, but I just didn't see it at the time. Okay, so this region has to come out here, and this region has to come out here. So one of these is definitely shaded, and not all 3 of these. So what does that say? Could we have both of these shaded? I guess that's the thing to say. Could we have both of these shaded? Definitely not, because either we have all 3 of these and we have a 2 by 2, or we have these 2 and they're not connected in this region. So one of these must be shaded and the other must not be. So we've got 3 out of these 4 that must end up being shaded now. It can't be this one and these 2. This is all pretty heady stuff. Because if it were, then this one would be stranded. So all that's telling me is that one's shaded. Ugh, that's a lot of work for that deduction. I bet there's something easier. If we have this one shaded, that's going to mean all 3 of these are, which could be okay, potentially. Maybe there's a better thing to be looking at. Let's see. If this is not shaded, then we've got to fit 4 into this area, which gives us that. Seems okay. So that's not a smoking gun. If this is I really want this to be a contradiction, having that one be shaded, but just don't think it is. Okay, I guess we have to think about connectivity then. This region down here has to connect to it has to connect across this to at least one cell on the edge. That's the only way it is going to reach. It's going. The only way it's not going to end up being stranded. So we've got to get from one of these 2 cells to one of these cells. I believe there are only 2 ways for that to happen. Either these 4, and that's actually not good enough. It doesn't even get us to where we need to be, which is this cell. So actually it has to be these 4. I hope that's clear. to everyone that we just can't reach any of these cells from one of these two, and it's just not possible. So we've got to get to this cell, and once we have that filled in, the only thing we can do is a straight shot down here. And that is going to tell us what happens for the rest of the puzzle, because this region has to keep going, which is going to go there. It's going to go up. We can't repeat this shape, so this turns left, and we are back in business. This cell can't be shaded because then we'd have a 2x2 here. We are left with 5 cells, of which 4 must be shaded, so this better be one of them, or else we'd have a 2x2. We do need this region to escape, and it does it through there. So that gives us either an L or a T, but the L is right there, so this is the T. Okay, we got everything. One of these two then connects over to here, one of these two. And let's say it's this one, because that's the most freeing it gets. Even if it's that one, we can only get this far with our 4. So this is not shaded. That means these 3 cells no longer connect to anything outside their region. So we need there to be a cell in here that can connect. It must be this one, because this one doesn't connect to anything. So this comes up here. Can't shade this one, or we'd end up with a 2x2. We can't have this be an L for a couple reasons. No 2x2 and no L. So we've got to go up here, because it can't be these 4. So it's at least 1, 2, 3, and 1 more. And okay, so could we go all the way over here? No, because we'd have 2 L's next to each other. Could we do this one and this one? No, because we get a 2x2. So this is shaded, making these not shaded. And oh well, this one's done because of that. Because of, as soon as we knew this one was shaded, we actually knew this was unshaded, and that tells us that this goes like that. It's an L, so we can't have an L next to it, so this has got to be an S. And all we have left to do is to connect this little key shape with the rest of the big shaded area, which has to come from here to here, or from here to here. We need to connect this cell, it's got to be this one, to one of these two. It's clearly not going to go up to the top because there's not enough room to do that. Okay, so we could either go straight across, or we could try to end up here. And if we try to end up here, our choices are this shape, which is an L, this shape, which is an L, or this shape, which is an S. None of those are valid. So it is going to be straight across in an I shape, and that is how you solve a LITS.